Okay, we're finally at the point where we can tear apart the pack and look at the big three. But as you can see, the first place I chose had some background noise. Directly behind me, they were cutting down a tree. So let's find a different spot. This is much better, much quieter. I want to talk about this layout a little bit. This is a Six Moon Designs Skyscape Trekker. It is functionally, it's a 1.5 person tent. That's what it's marketed as. But really, it's a comfortably roomy 1 person tent. And by comfortably roomy, I don't mean that you can have a toddler in there who tosses and turns all night. I've actually collapsed the tent and left it staked out so you can see what the actual footprint looks like. When you look at the design sheet with the instructions on it, the instructions are very straightforward, but if you don't take the time to set this tent up, you'll be mystified as to how it goes up. So this is the foot end of the tent, and it looks like a fish to me, so I'm going to call this the fishtail. And you would stake this out, not tight, but enough to where you have tension. I found it easier to find the fishtail end first, so I staked out the back first, and then you'll go and find the single guy out for the front. This is the tent, totally staked out and under some tension. And the tension is important because those two peaks at the top is where your built-in spreader bar is. And on either side of that spreader bar is where you're going to put your tent poles. That's why this is a hybrid tent. Not only can you buy carbon fiber tent poles that from the manufacturer, but you can also forego those and keep 3 ounces or so out of your weight and use your trekking poles instead. This is a really big door, and I haven't even got it all the way unzipped, but I'm showing you how far. Boy, this is hard to do with one hand, but I showed you how far back the zipper went. And now this is another view of the tent, and you can see the wind has lifted it up. It's a double vestibule tent. There's the front stakeout. I've collapsed it again. And I'm going to suggest to you, since you don't know how Six Moon Designs has actually rolled this tent, I'm going to suggest that when you pick up your stakes, that you roll the long way toward the center on both sides so that you still have the length of the tent. I just let go of the stake there. You still have the length of the tent, but the width, when you are going to actually roll it to fit it into the stuff sack, you're rolling just like you would a sleeping bag, straight down the center, and that way you'll be able to get it into the stuff sack. But more importantly, when you get it out, you'll know exactly where the head and the foot is, because it will roll out the same way that it rolled in. I have to admit, the first time I rolled it out, it was a little confusing. I chose to forego the carbon tent poles and used my trekking poles, and the suggested height is 45 inches on your trekking poles. Well, on my trekking poles, there is no 45. It's either, it goes by twos. Now we move inside for the sleep system, and what you see on the bottom there is my regular quilt that I sleep under, my quilt on my bed. Then next you see that gray thing, that's an 1/8 Gossamer Gear pad. The next thing you see on the left is my air mattress and my sort of mattress cover or lightweight sleeping bag for the summertime. And then in the middle is my Featherstone sleeping quilt, not sleeping bag. Let's throw all this on the bed and peel back the layers and look at each thing. Under or on top of the Gossamer Gear pad is my Compass sleeping pad. It is full length. That's why I wanted it on the bed, so you could see that it was, for the most part, full length. I can blow it up in between 15 to 18 breaths. However, I will most likely be getting one of those little USB gizmos that blows it up. Not because I can't blow it up, not because I don't want to blow it up, but because I find the opening very large and I have a hard time keeping it fully inflated. Next, we have my lightweight Force ATT. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to say Force ATT square summer bag. This bag has what I would call a three-way zipper, and you're looking at the head end there where I've unzipped it a little bit, so you can see the pad inside. The pad is actually tucked into a head pocket, a narrow pocket, and this is the foot end, and it zips from the bottom as well as zipping down from the top. So in theory, you can open this up and have it be a very nice lightweight bag for the summer, or you can use it as a pad cover, or you can use it as a sheet. And let me tell you, today it was not as hot as yesterday in Michigan. Yesterday it was beastly hot. Now finally on top, I have the Featherstone 850 down fill quilt, not a sleeping bag. It's rated for 25 degrees. We'll see if that's true or not. I have it cinched down at the foot end. It has an open foot end that completely unzips, and I have it cinched down. I am told by all the quilt owners out there that you can put the stuff sack where the cinch hole is and your feet will not be cold. We'll see if that's true or not. I'm looking at you, Darwin. Anyway, the top has a modified draft collar. It's really just another cinch. And no hood because it's a quilt. Now, why did I choose a quilt instead of a mummy bag? Well, I'm a side and stomach sleeper, and usually you will find me sleeping on my stomach with my left knee somewhere up around my left ear. I'm just one of those people who just takes up the whole, whatever it is, bed, sleeping bag, what have you. So I'm showing you here that both the top and the bottom cinch are open on the foot box and at the head. And I didn't bother undoing the whole thing because you get the idea. It's a quilt. It's not a sleeping bag. Being a stomach sleeper, I usually sleep with my my head on one of my arms, and that's a terrible way to sleep, but it's the only way that I'm comfortable for any length of time, and so I have not purchased a pillow yet. For the time being, a stuffed sack with a hoodie in it or something like that will have to do. We've covered 2 out of the big 3, and the last is the Nature Hike 60 liter plus roll top. And I'm sorry to tell you, but I think because this is almost at 10 minutes now, I'm going to save this for a video by itself. It's kind of as complicated as the tent. Actually, the tent is less complicated once you figure it out. So that leaves me with just about enough time to say thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and until next time, God bless you, stay safe, stay well, I'll see you real soon.